welcome back to my channel. So I'm super excited because today I'm going to be doing a beginner plant guide video. So I started the COVID quarantine with maybe 6 plants, and now I've amassed 60 like 60 plants around my apartment. So this has become kind of a passion of mine and a new hobby. So I'm excited to share what I learned with you. I've got 6 beginner plants that I think are really accessible and great for you to start with if this is something you want to get into. I'm going to share the apps that I like to use to keep track of my growing collection and help identify the plants that I'm picking out at greenhouses. And then I'm also going to take you to the greenhouse with me, show you a little footage of where I like to shop, and then end off with a guide to planting these new plants that you're going to get, because there's a way to do it that won't kill the plant. This will make it so that your plants will be happy and healthy. So if this is something you're interested in, if you want to get into plants, if you have plants that maybe are struggling a little, hopefully I can give you a couple tips and tricks along the way. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first plant that I think is a great beginner plant is this one right here. This is a spider plant. Super easy to care for, has to be watered once a week. For sunlight, it prefers partial sun, partial shade. So you can put this in a spot in your house that gets a couple hours of sunlight a day. It only has to be misted once a week, and it is not toxic to pets. I would still try to keep it away because obviously you want, your leaves to look pretty and happy. But if by some chance, your cat or your dog takes a little nibble, it's not going to hurt them. So actually all these leaves right here are new growth on mine. So I got this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's already growing like a weed. So this one's really satisfying. If you want something that's going to grow really quick and start to liven up your house really quickly, the spider plant is a great place to start. So the next plant that I'm going to share with you is this one right here. This is a striped Dracaena. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a great beginner plant if you live somewhere where you don't get a lot of sunlight, because this actually prefers shade. So mine's been sitting off in like a corner of my apartment that doesn't get any direct sunlight, and it's putting out all this new growth from the middle here. So super happy without sunlight. This only has to be watered every 15th day. It does need to be misted about once a week, and it is toxic. So you want to make sure that this is in a spot where your pets cannot get a little nibble on these leaves because they might get sick. But yeah, this is a really fun plant. It's super graphic because it's got these great stripes on the leaves. And overall, I think this is a great beginner plant for you. The third beginner plant is one that you can probably find at your local Lowe's or Walmart. This is a very common plant, and this is a snake plant. There's lots of varieties of snake plants, but they all have very similar care characteristics. So it just depends on what you can find and what appeals to you. But yeah, this is my snake plant. I got this from a local farmer's market. This one is great for beginners. It only has to be watered every 15th day. It does prefer either partial sunlight or shade. So again, this can go a spot in your apartment or your house that doesn't get a whole lot of sun, and it'll still be happy. It might grow a little slower without sun, but it'll survive. It does not need to be misted, and it is toxic. So keep this out of reach of pets. And I actually clean out my candle jars after I am done burning them, because they're a great little potter for plants. So there's a little extra tip for you. But yeah, snake plant, really good for beginners. Next plant is one that you are probably very familiar with, and that again is super accessible. You can get probably at any Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, and that is an aloe vera plant. As you can see, mine is thriving. She's large. This only has to be watered, sorry, I'm checking my notes, once every 18th day. So not super watering heavy. It does need full sun or partial sun. If you have it in a spot that gets partial sun, it probably will start to reach for sun. Because I mean, this is a succulent, it grows in the desert, it wants sunlight. So keep that in mind when you're placing your aloe vera. It does not need to be misted, and it is toxic to pets. So again, keep this out of reach of your pets so they don't get sick. But yeah, aloe vera, great beginner plant, easy to find. Second to last plant that I would highly recommend for beginners is a zebra plant. These come in a bunch of different varieties. They're super easy to find. Again, a very common plant. These have to be watered every 15th day. They do not require misting. They do prefer partial sunlight, but they can do full sun, again, whichever you have available. Be careful putting plants directly in sunlight that don't need it, because they can get sunburn actually. So if your plant starts to look a little crispy and you're like, hey, I'm watering it when it should be, I'm misting it when it needs to be, it's still looking like it's dying. Well, you can burn your plants just like you can burn your skin. So make sure you're keeping track of what your plant needs and monitoring it and moving it around if it needs to be. This is not toxic to pets, thank goodness, because as you can see, there's some missing tips down here. It turned into a little bit of a snack for my cats. The culprit. But yeah, great beginner plant, highly recommend. It grows pretty fast for a succulent. Mine's got a bunch of new growth coming out from the top, and I think it's a really cool graphic plant to have in your collection. So the last plant I'm going to recommend to you is the Arizona snowcap. This is a cactus, actually. I don't have a lot of cactuses in my collection, but this is one of them. This only has to be watered once every 3 weeks, so super easy to take care of. It does prefer full sunlight. It is a desert plant, so you know, it's used to that full sun in the wild. It does not need to be misted. It prefers drier air. And I'm not sure if it's toxic or not. I would err on the side of not letting your pets chew on this, just because cacti have spines and that would not be fun to have in your mouth. So yeah, keep it out of reach of pets, just in case. But yeah, super easy plant. Mine actually flowered recently. There's no flowers left, but it's always a good sign that your plant's nice and happy when it puts out flowers. So this is a great one to add to your collection as well. So you may be wondering, I've got all these different plants. They need to be watered at different times. I need to check if it's toxic or not. You know, my pet just chewed on it. Well, there's a great app out there that I use that I would highly recommend to anyone who's starting a plant collection, and that is called Planta. So this app is awesome. It lets you put in a lot of information about your plant once you've identified it, and it helps you keep track of watering schedules. If you need to mist your plant, it helps you do check-ins with your plant and see how the health is, and gives you tips. If you say, hey, my plant's not doing so great, it'll be like, oh, try this, try this, try this. You can pay for the premium version, and it'll tell you when you need to fertilize your plants. And it's just a great repository for your collection. So it actually will let you put in the sunlight levels of different areas around your house and let you know if a plant is recommended for that spot or not. It will you know, let you add photos of your plant, so you have like a little like diary of its growth almost. It's really cool. It gives you notifications, you know, for the day of what plants need to be watered. I love this app. I highly recommend it. It's overall just chef's kiss. Another app I would recommend getting if you are going to start collecting plants is just the Google app. You can use the lens feature in the search bar to put it up next to a plant, you know, hit the search button and it'll identify the plant for you. So, you know, if you're out in a greenhouse and you're like, this doesn't have a label on it, I'm not sure what this is, you can use the Google app, figure out what it is, go to your Planta app, see if it's good for one of those sites in your house, and then decide if you want to get it or not. So yeah, Planta and Google is a great combination of apps to keep track of your collection. Now we're actually going to go to the greenhouse, pick out a few new plants, and I'm going to show you how to pot them successfully. So yeah, let's go. plants that I picked out today is this ZZ plant, and I'm going to show you guys how I like to pot my plants to make sure that they are happy and will successfully grow. So I have this pot that I'm going to put it in today. This pot does not have any drainage in it. For succulents, you definitely want pots that have a drainage hole in it and something to collect it underneath, because if your succulents hold too much water, they will rot and die. This is just a house plant, so to make sure that my ZZ plant doesn't have too much water and does have a chance to dry out, I'm just going to put some river stones in the bottom. This is from Walmart. It's like $5 for a container or something like that. But I'm just going to put these in a nice little layer at the bottom. So just like that, just enough to cover the bottom, give a little place for water to pool in case I do overwater it. Next, I'm going to use just this potting mix that I have. This is actually for cactus, but because this doesn't have a drainage hole, I am just going to use it for the ZZ plant too. You can just use regular potting soil for a ZZ plant, but make sure you do know what kind of soil your plant might need. Cactus soil does drain a little easier so that your succulents don't get overwatered. I'm just going to put a little bit of a layer along the bottom to give this something to sit on, and then I'm going to add more once I put the plant in it. So as you can see, I literally just put enough to cover the stones and put a little layer at the bottom. So I'm going to loosen up my ZZ plant. And then I'm just going to gently grab her. As you can see, this one was starting to root out the bottom. These are the roots. So I'm gonna just loosen this soil a little bit. So those roots, now they're gonna have a place to go. So I'm just gonna stick that in. And now I will fill it in. Okay, so when you pot it, you want to make sure you leave room at the top, because when you water the plant, if it's too full of soil, it will just run out and make a mess. But this ZZ plant is repotted and ready to add to my collection. So that is all for today's beginner plant guide. I hope you guys learned a little something, maybe found some plants that you're interested in. I think houseplants are they're a great hobby. They liven up the space. It's satisfying to watch them grow. You get excited whenever your plant like puts out a new leaf. But yeah, I have so much more that I want to share with you guys about plants. I'd love to do like a little series like showing you guys my collection. So if that's something you're interested in, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel so you get notified when new videos do come out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.